And to the ugly. South Australia. Now again, like I've shown you when it comes to Victoria and the regional metropolitan divide, there are politicians who are playing you. And the information that they put out for you to check on a website every day is also playing you. Today, a whole raft of new restrictions have been put in place for the types of gatherings and businesses in South Australia. Now, if you go to the South Australian Government's website, this is what you see when it comes to coronavirus and the number of cases. You see numbers like 453. You see the national number of 17,000 cases, and you think, well, geez, there must have been an uptick. Something must be happening right now in South Australia. But it's only after you dig down, go around, double-click, reach under the bed that you actually see today's numbers. These are today's numbers. 2 active cases, 8 in the entire state. 8 in the entire state. Now think about this. Just 2 new cases today, 8 active cases compared to what is happening in lots of other parts of the country, but particularly Victoria. Yet this is what the Chief Medical Officer actually said without laughing today at the briefing in South Australia.
So my team had a very busy weekend, unfortunately, and we do have 2 new cases for South Australia.
How many people are in your team? Even one person with a flexi day would have been able to be across this. There's 8 cases in the entire state, 2 in 24 hours? Come on. But we bring to the politician who sees that how Mark McGowan is playing it in Western Australia is something that he wants to be able to do, like Peter Goodwin is doing in Tasmania, which is to pretend that it's 1895 and we're not quite a country yet. Despite the fact that there is 8 active cases in the entire state, Stephen Marshall is putting new restrictions into that state.
It is very important that we act swiftly, we listen to the expert advice, and that we stay in front of the game here in South Australia. Every single thing that we do is done to keep the people of South Australia safe during this coronavirus pandemic.
Premier, that's bullshit, and you know it. Also, in the ugly pile, our old mate Albo. Now, federal parliament was apparently supposed to be sitting in the next few days, and there's some hand-wringing about the fact that parliament won't be there. God forbid we just can go a couple more days without somebody passing an extra law or giving the Greens an opportunity to tell us how systemically racist our system is while they earn $200,000 as backbenchers in the Senate. Well, Albo was out there trying to make a political point that Scott Morrison is somehow hiding from accountability because the parliament isn't sitting at the moment.
We are of the view that when Parliament is due to sit on August 24, it must sit.
But there's a small double standard here. Parliament should sit because of accountability, but of course Daniel Andrews has cancelled Parliament in Victoria. What does Albo say about that state cancelling its parliament, where you could ask questions about hotel quarantine, about the ministers who made the decisions that led to the population being locked up for the next 6 weeks? Well, of course, nothing.
Guys, doesn't the Daniel Andrews Labor government also need to be scrutinised for the situation in Victoria?
Well, of course, Daniel Andrews has accepted responsibility for what he is responsible for. He stands up and has media conferences each and every single day. But I make this point, that the National Parliament should be meeting tomorrow.
Sorry? What? Now, in politics terms, that's called a pivot. In the real world, that's called each way elbow.